Mahabharat Reading 4. The Pandavas had proved their excellence and superiority to the Kauravas in the display of various martial skills. Bhishma was very pleased with them on this account. Besides, their innate noble qualities were a source of wide popularity not only with the elders of the family but among the common people as well. Dhritarashtra, advised by Bhishma, proclaimed Yudhishthir to be the crown prince of Hastinapur. He was the eldest of all the princes. God had endowed him with fine qualities of tolerance, benevolence, beneficence, perseverance, truthfulness, and selflessness. How could Duryodhan brook it? Burning with jealousy, he began to chalk out plans to go do away with Pandavas and safeguard the throne for himself. All his earlier intrigues had failed miserably, but he was not ready to give up his efforts. So one day, he went up to his father and said, "Dad, I request you to send the Pandavas along with Aunt Kunti to witness the annual fair to be held at Varnavart." Dhritarashtra could not smell any intrigue in it. He gladly allowed the Pandavas to go to the fair. In fact, Duryodhan wanted to consolidate his position at Hastinapur in the absence of Pandavas, so that he might build up sufficient support for himself as a rival claimant to the throne. Vidur, the prime minister, had got the wind of Duryodhan's evil design, so he alerted the Pandavas well in time. Yudhishthir, seeking permission of Dhritarashtra, left for Varnavat, along with his brothers and mother Kunti. Reaching there, they made to stay in a newly built palace. As for Duryodhan, he had made a secret plan to liquidate the Pandavas along with their mother. He had sought them help of ministers and named Purochan. The palace at Varnavart had been built under strict supervision of Purochan. Its walls were made of lac, a highly inflammable substance, while its roofs were thatched, so it could catch fire at the slightest contact with a single spark of fire. Duryodhan wanted to set the palace ablaze when the Pandavas were asleep in it at night. Vidur had wisely taken into confidence an engineer involved in the construction of the palace. He had dug a secret tunnel that led from the palace into the opening on the riverside. Not only this, Vidur had instructions to the Pandavas to escape through the tunnel whenever they realized any danger to their lives. The engineer had managed the task of digging the tunnel so tactfully that even Purochan, who was an ally of Duryodhan, could not know about the underground escape way at all. Purochan was fully confident of the success of Duryodhan's evil plan. Duryodhan was equally sure that the Pandavas would not be able to remain alive and reach back to Hastinapur. The fair went on, and the Pandavas used it to attend it by the day. At nightfall, they would return to the palace and pass the night there. Nobody knew that they slept in the tunnel itself and not inside the palace. Yudhishthir was keeping a very strict eye on Purochan's movement that were very dubious. On the last day of the fair, the Pandavas performed a yajna, and Kunti gave away alms to the poor after feeding the Brahmanas and the saints. Unluckily, a jungle woman about the same age as Kunti had attended the feeding ceremony along with her 5 grown-up sons at the end of the yajna. Her village being a long way off, she had managed to stay at the Lac Palace with the conveyance of the palace guard that very night. It was a moonless night. Purochan was sleeping in the outer room of the palace. With a view to having an upper hand, Bhima got up at the midnight and set fire to the palace at different places. He then escaped through the tunnel along with his brothers and mother Kunti. In no time, the palace was engulfed in horrible flames and reduced to ashes. The news of the catastrophe reached Hastinapur, and Duryodhan ran to Varnavart, showing deep concern at the accident, though only apparently. Reaching there, he found the bodies of Purochan and the jungle woman with 5 other sons completely charged. Some other unfortunate person has also gotten victims to the horrible fire. The Pandavas had got out of the tunnel quite safe and sound. Though Dhritarashtra and Duryodhan were pretending to be very sorrowful outwardly, they were extremely delighted in the hearts of the hearts. They had become sure that the path to the Kaurava throne was now clear for Duryodhan. As for Bhishma and other like-minded world dignitaries, they were really very shocked at this sad happening. Their sorrow was indescribable indeed. As for the Pandavas, they had come out of the tunnel which opened near the bank of the Ganga. Vidur had already managed a boat for them. So when they came to the river bank, they found a boatman waiting for them and ready to ferry them across the river. So they boarded the boat, and off it went on towards the opposite side of river Ganges. Reaching the southern bank of Ganga, the Pandavas, along with their mother, marched on and on. They crossed several hurdles and at last reached a thick forest. Hungry and thirsty, they decided to rest under a banyan tree that stood close by Kunti. Kunti, being advanced in age, was feeling very tired. So they all sat down under the thick shade of the tree. Having been weary after the long journey they had covered, all of them lay down and fell fast asleep, except for Bhima. Bhima was fully aware that his brothers and mothers were hungry as well as thirsty, so he set out in search of water and food. Hardly he had covered a short distance when he heard sounds of birds in a grove. He advanced towards it and found himself at the side of a pool of clear water. Bhima quenched his thirst, and then making a big jug out of a lotus leaf, he filled it with water. He returned to the banyan tree where his members of his family were lost in sleep. Bhima did not think it desirable to wake them up, lest he should feel disturbed. So he stood there by their side to keep a watch over them. The forest wherein the Pandavas were sleeping was hunting preserve of a fearful demon named Hidimb. He lived on a tree along with his sister Hidimba. While roaming in search of a victim, Hidimb sensed a presence of a human. He then asked his sister to go and look for the human beings and inform him and come back. Following the human smell, Hidimba reached the banyan tree and saw the sleeping Pandavas with Bhima on guard. As soon as she saw the muscular body of Bhima, she took fancy to him. An ardent desire to marry Bhima overwhelmed her, and she decided not to go back to her brother. So, with a view so attracting Bhima's attention, she transformed herself into a maiden of exceptional charm. Not only she adorned her body with valuable jewelry and walked up to Bhima gracefully. Addressing the hefty Pandava, she said, "Who are you, dear? What a muscular body and a handsome looks you have got. All these sleeping persons with you. Who are they? I'm really bewitched and want to be your wife. This forest is a hunting preserve for my brother Hidimb. He is a cannibal, and if he comes here, he will devour all of you. So wake them up and escape to safety before he comes. I shall use my witchcraft for this purpose." Bhima retorted, "Don't worry. I shall deal with your brother if it happens to come here. I shall see how cruel and powerful he is, but I am not going to disturb the sleep of my brothers and my mother." Unluckily, Hidimb appeared on the scene just at that moment. Seeing his sister transformed into a charming maiden and indulging in earnest conversation with burly Hima, his eyes began to emit fire. His fury transgressed all limits and he thundered, "Wait! You mean, bitch, you are trying to bring disgrace to the entire race of the demons. You have fallen so low as to revel with a mere human being. Can't you find a demon to satisfy your lust? I shall kill you right now and here, among with your paramour." Then Hidimb advanced to grab his sister, clenching his fist and grinding his teeth in rage. When he was going to lay his hand on Hidimba, Bhima intervened, held his hand by his wrist and shouted, "Hold yourself, you rascal! You can't lay hands on a woman in my presence. Come on, face me if you dare. Don't you know only cowards choose to attack women? Get away from here, or I shall knock you down so that you may never rise again." How could Hidimba brook such insulting words, and that even from a mere human being? So he sprang at Bhima and gave him a staggering blow on the back of his neck. Bhima was not to be frightened at all. So a fearful duel following, seeing which even the animals of the forest ran pell-mell in panic. Also, the commotion caused Kunti and her 4 sons to wake up. Seeing Bhima pitched against a dreadful demon, his brothers rushed for his help. But to their surprise, he had already got over with the demon and raised him well above his head. In no time, Bhima whirled Hidimba round and hurled him around violently. The huge demon fell down with a heavy thud and was no more. All the onlookers, including Hidimba, was very delighted to see him dead. Arjuna then suggested to Yudhishthira that they should move further and reach some town lest they should be overtaken by Duryodhana's men. Everybody supported the suggestion and they decided to leave the place. So after quenching their thirst, the party moved on with Hidimba following at their heels as well. The party had covered only a short distance when Kunti chanced to look behind. She was dumbfounded to see a fairy-like damsel following them. She stopped short and addressed the maiden. "Fair girl, who are you? And why are you following us? Your appearance speaks very high of you. You can be either a fairy or a divine damsel, isn't it? Come on, say something about yourself and your purpose to follow us." Touching Kunti's feet, the maiden remarked, "Mother, I am Hidimba, the she-demon, and the sister to the huge demon whom your valiant son just put to death." Then Hidimba disclosed everything and admitted that she was in love with Bhima and wanted to be his bride. She implored Kunti for her permission to allow her to carry on her desire. Kunti was so charmed by Hidimba's loveliness that she could not afford to refuse her the company of Bhima. Kunti went up to Hidimba and showered benedictions on her, hugging her closely and patting her on the back. Then she lovingly remarked, "With great delight, you can live with Bhima and carry him with you wherever you like. Who am I to come in between you when you both love each other so dearly? But daughter, one thing is there. You must leave him free at nightfall so that he may come to us, because we need him most for our safety, especially at night." Then Kunti turned to Bhima and asked him if he was ready to give company to Hidimba. Bhima hung his head bashfully, though a light smile appeared on his lips. Kunti and his brothers lost no time to follow that Bhima was impatient to enjoy the company of Hidimba. Kunti blessed him and urged him to go with Hidimba to have a ripening time in her company. Bhima kept reveling in the company of Hidimba every day, but as soon as darkness prevailed after sunset, he used to come back to his family. Days passed, followed by weeks and months, and things went on quite smoothly for them. In due course, Hidimba gave birth to a male child who was just a true copy of his father, Bhima. He was named Ghatotkach. He grew up to be a mighty warrior, gifted with magical powers and immense physical strength. All the Pandavas were very happy to see him doing wonderful things. At last, the day approached when Pandavas decided to leave the forest and move to some new place. Hidimba felt sad to lose the company of Bhima, but Kunti was not ready to take her with them. So on the eve of their departure, Ghatotkach said to Bhima, "Father, I shall stay with my mother as grandma wants me to do so, but never forget us. If at any time you are in trouble, just remember me, and I will reach wherever you are."